Jerry, second base. Why are we looking at second base? We need to be looking at third base. Ben Williamson played second base his last game in Tacoma. Go Avs.
Baseball stuff!
It's offseason mode, baby. It feels good, we start off A+, like did exactly what we wanted. Naylor brought into the fold. We added a left-handed bullpen guy. It's like already, in my opinion, Gav, we're at a B if we don't do anything at all the rest of the offseason. It's met my standards at least. But just my thoughts, and I know I wanted to jump on. We're doing a little late night, midnight hot stove. Almost midnight in Arizona where you're at, but I've just been thinking about it. Why are we going at, and it might be where the market's at right now, a lot of availability at second base, but I just look at the fact that Ben Williamson can defensively play second base. His bat fits better at second base long term. Why are we not looking at a third baseman today?
See, and I like Ben Williamson at second base. He profiles as a hitter for second base. It makes sense. However, we've seen what he can do third base defensively, and you're just like, all right, like why can't we blend the two together here? So the reason why they might be going after that is because if you can, I guess, define Ben Williamson as your third baseman and get the offensive production that he gives you, and then you get a guy like Ketel Marte who gives you the power that you would originally get from third base, you're complementing each other. You're just doing it a little bit untraditionally. I'm not the biggest fan because the other option is Brendan Donovan, where he doesn't complement that. He's more of a, he doesn't have the power that you're kind of looking for if you're going to offset Ben Williamson. So I'm kind of with you in what does the third base market look like, and how can you kind of navigate that?
Yeah, I mean, you start to look at names, they're coming off the board. I know last time we talked about it, I threw out the name Song from the KBO League. I got some flack for it. He signed for $2 million. That's pennies when it comes to these millionaire owners, these billionaire owners, actually, if you look at the numbers. But yeah, I thought that just based off his success the last 2 years, maybe that could be a really good fit with him and Williamson at third base. But beyond that, you look at third baseman, Gav, like, what are you thinking maybe that might be out there top of mind for you?
I still like relief pitchers. I still like us attacking that. I had one that I talked about earlier this offseason, coming from the Pirates. I really like this guy when he was with the Colorado Rockies, Casey Lawrence. Now am I thinking my own guy? Justin Lawrence. Sorry, Justin Lawrence for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Casey Lawrence was one of our own. Justin Lawrence
DFA'd, I think, 8 times this year. That's good.
Something or other.
That's a journeyman.
But I like Justin Lawrence. He didn't have like the greatest ERA, and maybe some of his stats were a little inflated when he was in Colorado. I love taking a chance on Colorado guys. Pittsburgh did that, and now it's proven that he is good. He's going to be set up as one of their setup guys. What would it cost to get a guy like that in? Would it cost a top 10 prospect, or would it cost like a mid-tier prospect? That's a guy that I'd like to bring in and just, kick the tires on him being in Seattle and just give that bullpen a little bit more extra room just in case a Carlos Vargas or Edward Bizardo kind of doesn't have what we think that they're going to have for a second year. I'd like to continue bringing that one home.
Yeah, an interesting name that I know it popped up last year, and it hasn't been talked out. Like, his name hasn't popped up at all. But Alec Baum with the Phillies. Do you think that'd be a name that would fit for the Mariners? I know he was linked to us at some time.
Man, that one's been attached to the Mariners for 2-3 years now. Every trade deadline, Alec Baum to the Mariners just seems like a hot topic. I've never been against the idea. I just when you think of typical third baseman and what the Mariners have lacked, especially over the years that we've been talking about Alec Boehm as a Mariner, he's not a home run hitter. He's not going to have 25 to 30 bombs. He's going to be 15 to 20 tops. and that's just kind of what he gives you. He strikes out less. He has his bat to ball skills are really good. It profiles the park very well, but it profiles as a second baseman. We're in the same topic as Brendan Donovan and Ben Williamson. Ben Williamson. Man, I can't talk tonight. It just kind of fits that profile where it's nice to have those guys, but you also want to balance it with thump. And there's only certain positions where you really get thump from, and that's third base, first base, and then sometimes depending on your outfield.
Speaking of thump, a name that popped up this week, Vientos with the Mets.
Vientos.
I mean, like that. I mean, Brett Beatty, I'd rather have on our team. Not huge pop, but he could be a 20 home run guy. Vientos could be 30 home run guy. His season last year got a little derailed, high K rate. I like him though still as a player. The flexibility of playing corner infield, I feel like it fits in well. He can play some DH to take off some pressure, but I look at that name as something being floated out there. What do the Mets need? It's like center field, they're going with a young guy currently right now. Can't really, like, if we help them there, it's like, do you want Robles? Like, is that a name that interests you?
I think they would be targeting.
I don't think that has the value to get you a Vientos. So
what they're looking for, in my opinion, because they have a couple starting pitchers that are coming up. Jonah Tong, Brandon Sproat, Nolan McLean made a
strong
start. Absolutely. But they don't have anybody pronounced, or not nobody, but I think that what they're looking for is a pronounced veteran from a starting pitcher perspective. So I think they would be targeting a George Kirby or a Bryce Miller. And I wouldn't be targeting Mark Vientos for that level just of the year. If it was a year ago, maybe we can have that conversation as a 25-year-old who hit 26 bombs, who had a great showing in the postseason. It's tough to see what exactly does their need meet our need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I want to say, like, what about Castillo? But they already came out and said, we're not doing that. But we're talking about third baseman, they already came out and said, we're not doing that. And kind of takes you to like that second base market. I know you brought up Ketel Marte, former Mariner. Jerry likes to trade for former players. I don't know what it is. It's a sick joke.
He loves getting second and third stints. You're not kidding.
Yeah. Oh man. I wonder how many times. Never mind. I'm not gonna. Anyways, so you start going into like some second baseman. Like I like the Brendan Donovan thought. I think that makes a ton of sense. But like you and I were talking about before, like that price tag.
Yeah. Now I will say this. Somebody made a good comment about this. They're not. I think it was actually John Morosi, which he made a pretty terrible comment on what we should be trading for Brendan Donovan. It just sounded like a complete asinine trade, in my opinion. But his market might suggest that you might have to overpay slightly to get him, which when you look at the second base market and what Brendan Donovan gives you, he is very high up there. Because you look around the league and there's not a lot of second basemen that are batting north of 280 with north of 10 home runs, which is crazy to think in 2025. But there's not a ton of guys that are doing both of those things. They're either batting 270 or they're giving you 15 to 20 home runs. And if they're giving you 15 to 20 home runs, they're lacking probably somewhere else. And it's usually in the strikeout department, or maybe they're batting 220. So he makes sense in that term. And I don't want to give the guy too much credit because I think most of Mariners fans are kind of tired of hearing him. But I do want to at least acknowledge that his market might suggest that you might have to slightly overpay. However, they're asking for Bryce Miller. And I'm sorry, you're looking at a guy who's a year younger. Like Bryce Miller's a year younger, has another year of ARB. Like he's controlled through 2029. They're going to cost roughly the same, I think, $2 million-ish going into next year. Maybe Bryce Miller's even less than that. Maybe pitchers deteriorate faster. I just don't see the value coming back, and that's not that it would be straight across. And I still think that's even more of an overpay than being a slightly overpay. So I would like to see two prospects, and I think you can get away with like a Laz Montez and a Ty Pete, Now,
It's
as much
tough.
as I don't want to get rid of Las Montes, he's one of the few I don't want to get rid of, and not because he's like, oh, he's our number 3 prospect. You can't get rid of your top 5. No, it's because his power is unmatched, and you just don't find his power every day. I want to see how that actually plays in T-Mobile. I want to see how that plays for the Mariners, because the Mariners have for years lacked power. Besides Nelson Cruz, for the last 20 years, it has been tough to find power.
Yeah, I'd say they need to prioritize one big bat. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think you could supplement the power though in some kind of way, some kind of part-time player. One player though that's come up, one last guy on second base before we kind of go to the next thought, but Nico Horner got brought up, and that's a top 25 bat in my opinion. Just his ability, just bat on ball, on base percentage, plays good defense. He can play other positions, but he's second base. He's there. But I mean, like, what are your thoughts, Gav? Like, is that a guy that, I mean, I just look at it and I'm like, Cubs, what do you extend him? What are you doing? Like, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish here?
Yeah,
Go spend in free agency on a starting pitcher.
I think Nico Horner, those trade talks with the Mariners, I heard them kind of rumbling in the was it last offseason, and then the year prior to that, I think it was at the trade deadline.
It's
I've heard
popped
Nico
up.
Horner. I've heard Nico Horner of the Mariners. I like Nico Horner of the Mariners. I'm also curious on what they want, because they're also a contender, right? So they're probably looking for, the pieces that they're looking to get back might suggest that they're looking for maybe like a Dom Canzone, somebody who Dom Canzone, and I should say
It would start with, it would probably be a Cole Young, Dom Canzone starter, maybe a prospect pitcher of some sort.
A Michael Morales, like a little bit lower of a.
I like Michael Morales though, and the fact that they're going to be moving him to left field, I think that makes a lot more sense.
No, sorry, Michael Morales, the pitcher.
Michael Morales.
Michael Arroyo is
Michael Arroyo is the second baseman.
Yes,
he's actually playing left field now.
Michael Morales is low 90s, not a big strikeout guy, fills up the zone well, struggled a little bit in Double-A. He's one that I'm willing to part ways with, especially if it's to solidify.
His ability's there, though. I mean, drafted out of high school. I mean, he had a good start, a little bit of a lull the last few years, but I felt like this last year he actually took a step forward, though. His K rate went up. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it went up a little bit. However, I just think with the new direction of the Mariners, he's an expendable piece when you have Kate Anderson, when you have Senja, when you have Ryan Sloan, when you have some of these guys that are really Jerry gave huge praise to Sloan and said, "Don't be surprised if you see something crazy next year with
he's
Ryan
good,
Sloan.
Man.
He's really good." And so
top of the rotation stuff.
And you got, in my opinion, you got two of them. I think Senja, when we drafted him, and I don't want to throw shade at Senja, but I just want to give an honest opinion. When they drafted him, I thought he was a late first rounder, early second rounder. Yeah. I liked him. I wanted him a part of the Mariners organization. Let me make that clear. But Trey Savage was available. I was really high on him, and obviously we're seeing what's happening with him. And I like Senja, but I'm curious on how it works with him throwing both ways, because from the left side, he still has a lot to work on. From the right side, he is pretty much Kyson Witherspoon, which it's funny. I'm saying that because he's a year older than Kyson Witherspoon, but he's 98 to 100 from the right side, and he's lights out. So I'm curious on what capacity they're actually going to use him from both sides.
I think just from a fan perspective, I'm just excited to see, like, what does that look like from batter in, batter out through the lineup. I know, like, in the minors, it's not as much as you'd think. I mean, he's maybe throwing lefty, like I've seen, like maybe 8, sometimes 15 pitches. It's not a lot. He just kind of changes it up a bit. Depends on depends on the matchup.
Here's my brother, by the way, big bad Jarrett. I don't trust
Williamson. What's up, my man?
I don't trust Williamson, Young, Emerson, Bliss, Rivas in the lineup for 162 games, and you couldn't be more correct. If that's who you're running with. Granted, this offseason was still one of the best offseasons we had with locking in Naylor and with trading for Ferrer, but you're still missing pieces. If we're looking at what we did last year and how do you improve, we're still missing that piece, and I think this is part of it. Can we survive with one platoon of them at second base? But we have to fill the other lineup spot with a proven bat. I agree. I think that there
Yeah,
needs to be
you
a
you can't be doing more than one platoon on like a lineup. I mean, Dodgers kind of do it in a way. I mean, they've had successful years where they've had
they
two or
do it,
three platoons going,
but they have that's the
but they
thing is
also they have
they
Hall
have
of Famers in their
seven
lineup.
they have seven yeah they have seven guys that are going to be on the Hall of Fame ballot.
Yeah,
Like they have that, and then their bench is just more loaded than any other bench that you could possibly imagine. So when
totally.
they platoon guys, it's starters from other teams. So yeah, they have that luxury.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about second base when we go that route. Say we have a soft-handed, like a bat at second base that doesn't have that power. Is there a DH out there that you feel like that fits that mold to really add that power component to our lineup?
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't scoured the earth for guys that are on their last years of a deal because those are the guys that are probably going to be within our wheelhouse of trading for. If you're looking for somebody who still has 2 years, 3 years of their deal,
Yeah.
I'll also tell you this much. I'll give you this tidbit. Brian Reynolds actually ended the year not terrible. And you take him out of Pittsburgh, maybe putting him
You are a
around
Brian Reynolds guy. You brought him up a time or two.
hey, and shout out to one of the guys that we used to run the podcast with, Ty. We've chatted a little bit about it, and he actually finished with some pretty decent numbers that you should actually consider. And with him, I think he has 4 years left on his contract, 3 years left on his contract, and they're $15 million a year. It's not necessarily favorable, and you're definitely taking a risk. But it is somebody proven. You put that proven guy in a lineup like that. I mean, PNC isn't the easiest park to hit in either. There's room for thought just on the market and what it's providing you. There's room for thought to have that be a possibility.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing his name out there. It doesn't have to happen, but it's just another name for food for thought.
Yeah. And I'm more of the camp that I don't know if we really need to replace the power at this point. I feel like we have a really strong lineup. And I keep looking at that leadoff position. Like, who's a guy that we can add that makes sense to help the top of our lineup? And I keep going back to Luis Arias. He's a guy that's been sort of linked to the Mariners over the last several years. His values continue to go down year over year as he's kind of turned into a one-trick pony, really just barreling up the ball, just finding the bat on the ball. Like, that's just, he does that really well. Quick hands. That's what he's great at. So I feel like he's a good fit. Gav, like, tell me I'm crazy. Like, I nobody's talking about it. His contract is not going to be expensive. It's going to be probably half the price as
We'll
Polanco.
pull it up right here. If there's one thing you're going to get from this guy, I mean, just last, not this prior year, but the year prior in 2024, he had 200 hits. I put value on that. Understandably, I think his WAR came out was 1.1 or whatever. So yeah, the WAR, sure, your WAR is not going to get, but the way he plays the game complements the rest of your lineup. I think kicking the tires on that is 100% in play. What sucks, and you're going to have to navigate this carefully, is his positionless. Like, he can barely play first base right now.
He's a better version of Donnie Barrels. He's a better version of Donnie Barrels.
He's a better version of Donnie Barrels is kind of the best way to put it. But yeah, he's kind of positionless. He doesn't help you out in the infield. You gotta find that from other. If he's one of the pieces that you add, and then halfway through the year you find
he's your second best piece you have to add for a bat.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like that's if we go with a lesser name or we maybe trading for a younger guy. I'm not sure what direction we go. If it is a Vientos or something, I don't know.
I'll even keep it as plain as if Cole Emerson emerges at halfway through this year and he is good, and then that's your second bat, or that's your top tier bat, and then you have Luis Arias to complement that. Sure, yeah, I'm okay with that, but you're asking a lot of Cole Emerson right there, or Cole Young, or one of these other guys to step up. But Luis Arias is 100% in play. I can't definitively say right now, yes, we need Luis Arias to win a national championship, win a World Series. But I like the idea of Luis Arias as a hitter.
Yeah. And you're just looking at just the fact that you lost Polanco. He's 80% DH for next year, most likely. And I feel like that generally fits Arias. But anyways, like, outside of that, like, just other names that I really like, just Quan. I keep thinking about, if we're gonna add to this lineup, get me a leadoff hitter, and like Kwan's that other name that I just see that I'm like, how is he available? Why is he
Yeah.
available? Is he broken? I don't think he's broken.
Well, and
He's not
you raise a
trending
good
up.
point. You raise a good point, right? Because Cleveland just made it to the postseason last year. Why are they looking to get rid of him? And are they looking to get rid of him, or are they just saying that because they want to test his market and just try and get the highest bidder? Because the market right now, it's tough. It's tough to find a good hitter at this moment. It is tough to find a good hitter at a good price. So yeah, if Stephen Kwan's going to cost Shane Baz and that deal that we just that historic deal that we saw earlier today, then no, I'm out. But I'm curious on I would be curious to see what they would want for Stephen Kwan. Also, yeah, a PNW guy went to Oregon State.
Yeah, well, I mean, just tell Stanton to open up the checkbook. Let's get Kyle Tucker and just solve all of our problems.
Solve world hunger in Seattle and go get Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
The other name I've been hearing.
Do we have an NIL for that? Like,
yeah, do we?
Like a little GoFundMe for Kyle Tucker? Yeah, I'd consider.
Oh man, the GoFundMe. You know who should fund that GoFundMe is Stanton. That's funny.
Oh yeah, that's right. The guy that's a billionaire.
The guy that's a billionaire with a B. Oh man. No, the other person I wanted to talk about that might cause a rift in Seattle, Alex Bregman. He fits on so many different levels as a hitter. He fits for third base. Like the guy is a perfect.
It's a perfect match.
It's a perfect match. However, yeah, it sucks because a lot of people in the league, I don't think are big fans of him. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm not in those clubhouses, but it just seems like that whole team of Astros are kind of downplayed or not liked very well. So I don't know if that's going to cause some turmoil in Seattle. I know it will with the fans. That one I can tell you for sure. A lot of fans probably won't like him very
Mixed
well,
feelings.
And they'll get over it as soon as he starts, winning some games for the Mariners. But yeah. he answers
historically
so
a slow starter though. Historically a slow starter. There would be some rift. There would be some.
Yeah, April's gonna suck. But that's kind of who I had kind of pegged down for those.
Nice.
But
yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I mean, winter meetings wasn't as crazy, but it seems like conversations are continuing. There's still a lot of big names out there. I don't know if the Mariners are going to spend, though. I don't think we're going to see the free agent name.
I think it's going to come from trade. Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to come from
everything
trade.
You see. It's just, historically speaking, like draft, develop, trade. Jerry talked about it several times when he first started. That's their method. Yeah. So
Andrew Knizner is probably the only other free agent that you'll see. If you're going to see any free agents, it's going to be stockpile season. It'll be January, and you'll see a bunch of 4A guys that are being stockpiled.
Yeah. Maybe you see some minor league contracts here over the next few weeks, but totally.
Yeah. For Up West Sports, that's Chad. I'm Gavin. Thank you for listening. And just remember, I'm going to mess this one up. So that's the end of our show.